Hey, what's up guys? So today I want to talk about a few things that I did on this shot because, I was just doing what I do and I had a vision for what I kind of wanted to see. And I was going over this with a friend of mine because we were reviewing the shots and I mentioned what I did and he said, that's really cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. And I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe that'll make a cool video. And what I'm about to show you is not unlike the classic era of darkroom techniques, dodging and burning, not so much for skin correction, but for changing the focus of an image, right? And by focus is not sharpening, nothing like that. I don't mean sharpness, but changing the attention that the image gets, what the viewer experiences. How are you drawing the viewer's eye and what kind of experience do you want the viewer to have? So let's look at this shot of Andy here. We did this at a market in Houston and it's perfect. I mean, I loved it. There's a little bit of pre-grading, as I call it, that I did in RAW and Capture One. And there it is. I cleaned up a few extra things. There's obviously a backlit with the sun to the camera right here. Everything's fine. But how do we add some more interest to it apart from some final color work? How can we change and lead the eye? Okay, let's talk about that. So a couple of things that I did. For one, I mentioned many times before, here's the final edit. I mentioned many times before that if you're going to add a light effect of some kind, that you should have an existing light source in the shot. If you don't have light coming from camera right or camera left or backlit or something like that, if you don't already have a light source, adding fake light or a light flare or anything like that, it's going to look really, really concerning. Or at least it's not going to be believable. And your viewer is going to wonder what's going on, or they're going to flat out know it's fake, right? So I have a light source here. I have the sun. Now, in this particular case, I was using Boris FX optics, which I really, really love. I'm not a big plugin user, but really been enjoying Boris FX optics lately. And I'll probably do some more videos on it just to kind of show you guys. I'm not getting paid by Boris. That's not what this is about. But I just want to show you, this is what I did. I thought, well, let me kind of explore some of the light effects that they have. Again, guys, I'm not trying to make a video training about Boris right now. I just want to show you. Look, for example, if I take this light flare effect, right, and I toggle it off and on, you already see how your eye believes it. Even if you change to different flares, some might be more believable than others. But see, if you change to different flares, maybe not that one, that's kind of extreme, but still kind of cool. Right? You're exploring all these. I mean, even look at that one. There's like a flare going across. See? But because there's a light source over there, your brain thinks it's fine. Right? There's already the idea there's light behind her and it's cascading from camera right to left. You see it on her face and her leg. You see the light source. So adding fake light, as it were, looks pretty good. Right? But I did something else. Let's go ahead and cancel that because I do have the original, or actually my edit. So let me talk about the second thing that I did. Another thing I do that's very, very subtle sometimes is using black or white. I'll do some kind of masking to subdue areas I don't want to be noticed, right? So let's go to select and say subject, okay? This is going to select Andy. Gosh, Photoshop's subject selection AI is so good lately. It's literally like a dream come true. Considering how many decades I spent masking people out manually, it's been a dream come true for quite some time now. So I have Andy. What am I going to do? Shift Command I or Shift Control I because I want to select the background. I don't want to select her. Okay. Now I'm going to use that selection, go to solid color adjustment layer and put a black. Now, obviously, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't look like anything important. But a couple of things that I'm going to do. One, I'm going to put it about, this is where I usually start, about 10% opacity, okay? Now, look, off, on, off, on. You see how Andy pops out a little bit, but it doesn't look like something's wrong. It doesn't look like this. That would look weird, right? But at 10%, maybe sometimes even 15%, it adds. Now, we killed our light source over here. That's no big deal. We muted something that shouldn't have been muted. Big brush, and we can just kind of fix this area here, bring that glow back. You see how I'm adjusting the mask? Here's what the mask is looking like. Oh, 1 second. This is what the mask is looking like. See that? So let's turn it off and on. Let's zoom in a little bit. Off, on, bringing attention to Andy, subduing the background a little bit. I keep my light source in here, right? Because I don't want that to go gray. That would be weird. Can even potentially make it even 20%. Look at the difference there. There and there. She pops out. Now, what happens if you add color grading, do the light flare, and that little black solid color? Well, it looks like this. See? So that is the kind of vibe that I thought really worked for the shot. So here's perfectly passable shots. Beautiful. I love this. But You see the attention, I'll open the folder, take the attention away from the background, give it to her. I've got my flare effect down here. This is from Boris Optics again, right? Excuse me. And you see, and of course my color work layers, I played around and made her eyes a little more contrasty and all that. But there's the difference from a perfectly beautiful, passable, beautiful shot like this. And then boom, you change the focus. You change the user's attention in a simple, subtle way. And it looks natural. First of all, it's like, whatever ISO it was, I don't even know. It's got a thin depth of field. It's outdoors. It's very casual and kind of improvised looking. However, there's a little bit of playfulness in there, a little bit of cheekiness in the edit to bring your attention in. It's not to try to trick anybody. It just changes your attention. Now, do me a favor. Go on Google or ChatGPT or whatever and ask for look for images of famous portraits, especially portraits, but even landscapes and cityscapes and things that were done decades ago. And look and see if you can find any type of reference material that shows like all the darkroom notes that these artists would do about dodge here, burn there, and you look at these old shots from 1957 and it's a beautiful black and white of the London downtown and somebody walking across the street and you're like, oh my God, these masters. They were absolutely masters. But the amount of dodging and burning that went on, not just for correction, but even for special effects, beautiful glow of backlit situation or something like that was all dodge and burn in the darkroom. Very manual, chemicals, all kinds of things, light exposures. And it created the refinement of an image. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this version of the image. But when you do those subtle things to draw attention to it, I ideally want a user to see the shot and go, wow, what a beautiful scene. What is going on here? And not think, oh, I like the special effect on the light source here. And I like how the background's darkened. Or maybe I hate all of those things. I want it to be seamless and integrated to take a casual, beautiful shot and again, change the focus of your attention.